Yo, back again. I know I said I probably wasn't coming back right away to do another stream. I was hoping to focus on some of the stream assets, but I kind of had a weird morning and decided that I really wanted to get this singer concept out. I think the fact that it's lingering for so long, I wanted to have at least two things done with this whole fun employment time. And the fact that this collaboration, like what it was initially supposed to be, and how it's nothing now, has sort of shit in my cereal this morning. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get it done. Um, God, I really hope there's not an echo going on with the dual mics, but if there is, let me know. I don't know. Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and get started. This is gonna be pretty much all emotion, a motion day. Um, and yeah, I'm just gonna kind of start charging through this, just to get things out there. Um, yeah, kind of a weird morning. Turned down a client project, so fun employment continues. So I don't think I'll be going anywhere just yet. A couple other things going on, but you guys don't give a fuck about that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get the fuck into that little corner in the bottom right. So my plan right now is, so I talked to a friend who does a lot of motion. I keep alluding to him, about the best way to animate all of these things. I debated not even animating it just because it's going to be such a mind fuck to do. But I've just decided, you know what, the motion's necessary for something like this, and I think with all the video assets that I have available for this, it really is something it's going to take a little extra work to do. But not animating this would just be such a loss. I think there's some potential to do some kind of cool stuff in here. So this may be a little painful at times. I asked him if there's any sort of way of creating arrays, like just in the way with symbols in Sketch, if you could create a master, so all these little tiles being spawned off of this. Like, could I do that and then override like the text within it? He said no. I was like, is there any way of like automating the time? And he said the time function as an expression is just kind of weird. It's not as straightforward as it think it is. So that might not be an option. So I'm probably going to look at these through stages. I think the different sort of gallery load-in is going to be one thing. I think today and right now, I really want to get this sort of the gallery indicator loaded in, because there's so much like of this piece that it's kind of like the cornerstone of the whole experience. So focusing on that, I think it's going to be really important. Zoom thing is fucked. But there are some things along the way that I will need to kind of figure out. So this will get into some of the structuring of the After Effects file, some of the exporting that goes on from Sketch, and then making the animation happen. And I think like getting into the animation in After Effects, it'll be a lot of like structuring and how to kind of pre-comp. And again, like there's probably some things I'm not going to be the best at. Like someone might chime and be like, fuck man, you're doing this a really stupid way. Like I'm ready for that eventuality. So don't be surprised. So I really should have a starter After Effects file. I don't. But one thing I do every time is I sort of mirror what I have in the actual Finder folder. So these are the two things I have. So references are like full comps that I can kind of use underneath of like any sort of comp. If I need a reference and I want to like hit a specific layout, this is what I'll use. So I'll probably start exporting some of these out. I'll just export out all these states, although I don't think I need tall, I don't need short. These are kind of like when development was actually going to happen. That was sort of a necessary thing. Why did that? Okay. So I just want to export all these. Can I not export symbols? Really? Can't. Okay. Well, find something new every day. Wait, I want to see. Yeah, why? This would be so strange if you couldn't export. 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 Export? Maybe not. Because usually it's... Oh, make exportable. There you go. It's just buried with all of these... Apparently you can't do multiple. That's... Whoa. Interesting. If I make them all exported individually... What is the shortcut for make exportable? Oh, it's like all of them. Okay. Oh, just do a claw grip. Do all those. They're all exportable. Select it. PNGs. Yeah, why not? So I have, where is that folder? Singer concepts. And I think I probably need to caveat this again. This is not in any way, shape, or form actually affiliated with Singer. That's important clarification. This is a real collaboration that, oh, fuck off. That is no longer happening. I do nested folders. I've never really done nested folders in here, but here we go. And I know this isn't the most exciting thing, but this sort of prep work is super important. In terms of just like having a structure if you want to track assets, coming back to a project after a while, not having done this, I can tell you you're going to deal with a lot of missing footage. So definitely something to think about. Let's say this would be gallery nav loading. That's probably where I'll start. So I will have the references. So the initial load in. I do wonder if I should just make it size. Yeah, maybe I should change this. Composition settings. Make it 130 by 1200. So this way it's, well, no, that's going to be different. My canvas sizes have all been different. So this is a height of 1200 by 860. Can lock this, make this a weird. At least it's staying 16 by 9, but I mean everything's gonna fit a little bit better now. Okay, so I really need to figure out the best way of all these individual elements. I think it's gonna be Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be such a pain in the ass if I have to do each one of these as individual PNGs. But then if I ever need to modify it, I don't need to worry about recreating it in After Effects. But I don't see myself needing to modify this. The only thing that maybe needs modification is some of the different states. Like maybe video doesn't quite pan out the way I thought it would. But I don't think I'll need to. Animating the active state is gonna be a fucking tough one. Unless I do it with all with this, where it's something that just sits on top. Yeah. We'll start off with them all inactive. I could just get all of these, make it portable. Problem is they're gonna have all the same names, so they're not gonna export, are they? Motion. That's nav. Grid spots. Yeah, I just feel like it's gonna be one. It's gonna keep overriding itself. Yep, there you go. Good. But maybe that's for the best for now. I'll just do like a placeholder, and then I can swap assets. So if I do asset or like option drag on layers within the After Effects file, I can go ahead and get that retained. But what I do want to do is singer. Yeah. I'll start with the grid first. So the assets, create a new folder, gallery nav. Start with one for now. You know what? I think I'm gonna. I'm thinking like so. If I crop this, so basically what I'm working on now, the gallery loading, probably just mean gallery state is like it's gonna need to expand out, knowing some of the different states. I might be better off not cropping it to that. Actually, let me check. The only one that's complicated is the sort of thumbnail view, but I don't even know if I'm gonna do that just yet. Actually, I might be able to get away with not doing it super wide, so that way I can kind of control contents a little bit better. So if I do, what was it, 200 width? Let's see, 130. And one thing I did learn, don't lock that. If you do advanced, you can control which way canvas crops. This took me a long time because it'll always do it to the middle, and it's strange that they put this in some sort of advanced position, but they do. I don't know. So here goes nothing. So I'm gonna change this to red. Red for reference, that's kind of my thing. I turn down the opacity to whatever, and I lock it. So this is here. Oh, here. Here. Actually, what would make more sense? Ooh. I don't know if the audio's cutting out. Computer's lagging a little bit. I should probably do this from the end state of the race grid. So I can keep my reference here. All I have to do is just option drag and replace it. So now I have the end state. So I can reposition these a little bit better and then kind of work backwards. It's scaling. Interesting. Thank you. It also helps to keep things in order. And so I'm definitely going to keep focused on this today. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm probably not going to divert too much. Like I was saying, I kind of have this inkling to get this fucking thing done. I've been staring at it so long, I'm kind of just like bugging out on some of the different states. Like the preload state, I'm not totally sold on if it's the right idea. So it's, but I can do that forever, and I don't have forever with this. So I think making some progress towards the finished product, I think, is going to be beneficial. Mostly to my sanity. That's probably what I should specify. Lock this fucking thing. No, don't lock all of them. So, just want to make sure that these are aligned real fast, which they were not, and they're evenly distributed to the top. And with this, say that looks decent enough. So first, I'll just animate the grid coming in. So the best way to do this would be, I need to increase this a little bit. Nope. That. Nope, don't do that. Trying to do. I just want to rename these. Again, painful, but I will thank myself later. So position, I think for all of these, I'll want to just mark the keyframe. So this is the start. And then say I want it to take, I think 2 seconds. Like it's kind of a longer thing. And so what I can do is I can just add to the Y position. So I'll want to zoom out, figure out how far I want this to go. It's there. So right now, simple. Well, I did it backwards, obviously, but that's easy to fix. time reverse keyframes, super helpful. So, there you go. Linear gets the job done. For me, so if I'm animating things in a series, I use a lot of keyframe velocity just to be very specific. If you go in and use the manual curves, you're kind of open to whatever. I have this Motion 3 plugin that I buy. I haven't really spent the time to learn it. I don't think this is the time. I want to kind of have some time to just like fuck around with it, but right now, like with this sort of just, you know, this mood I'm in right now with this shit, like I just want to get done. So, you can see it has this nice kind of long easing, and you're probably wondering like, hey, John, that doesn't look great. I agree. The other thing, so I have position here, so that's at 2 seconds. Probably at the 1 second mark. So I'll hide position, and so this is all keyboard shortcuts. P for position, T for opacity. I couldn't really tell you why that's what it is, but that's what it is. And so there's just a slight offset of opacity. So it's going to hit full opacity before it's done moving. I can see what it looks like. But there it is. All at once though. But so the idea is this is going to be a race grid. So all of these, well, let's see if I don't typically see the point in doing easing with opacity. There's probably some people, like I think if you have something that's long duration, it's important, but something that's like 1 second long, like the amount of, you don't really notice easing of opacity as much as you notice it with things like position, scale, literally I think every other parameter that you can modify. So I'm probably just going to leave it for now. But this is where it's kind of important to get this right. Because if not, I'm gonna be right back here doing this shit all over again. I'll go ahead and hide that. And now it's just a matter of offsetting them. And so this is Option Shift Page Down. And I want this to kind of feel organic. So actually this option down is like individual frames, option shift down is for 10 frames. And so I don't want this to be too long, but I do want it to feel like there's a natural sort of cadence to this where it's not like, sometimes there's some stragglers on like the formation lap and shit like that. That's the whole thinking behind this. This is basically the end of the formation lap. But I also don't want to extend this out too long. So let me hide this since I don't really need it. There you go. So it's kind of, I mean, even it's kind of wild doing this like that, and it looks remarkably close to what I've comped up in the static. And I'm kind of surprised that I was able to get it that close just by kind of creating some variability to it. So there's gonna be like a big time fucking straggler holding things up. I feel like last place is always just like, oh, no. What's that? End? So next to page up, page down's the end key, and I don't know what that's for. Yeah, I feel like the last place guy's always just like really holding shit up. Does feel a little long though. That's the one thing I will say. Um, that was kind of my worry. But also at the same time, um, the thinking with this load-in sequence is that there's also going to be like a short intro being played. As this is going on. So this in the background is, so it's gonna need some time to do it. Is it a little long? Yes, I think so. Get this better. A 404 preview. Thank you for the follow. I don't have the notifications set up. I think I turned them off for right now because one of my streams yesterday was just a shit show trying to get that to work. Yeah, fucking last place. Is that too long though? And in actuality, because it's the idea of them like pulling into the start of the grid, I'll probably go in and manually adjust the position easing going in. Because it just feels too uniform, and like when people pull up to a stop, they don't always like stop at the same speed, so it feels a little too uniform at this point. Why can't I add the, can I modify position? No, maybe I'll just keyframe velocity. This will be 10. 5. Be 40. So just creating some like natural variability, kind of a going off the grid. It might create some staggering. I hope it doesn't, like if I push it too far, I'm gonna get some offset where there's potential for overlap. Well, let's see if this helps. You can see some of the ones in the middle that I did mess with. Like it does feel a little bit kind of, I don't know, human in the fact that it's not all synced up. And again, these I might need to come in and do something different with this. And I think the way to avoid any sort of overlap is to really make sure that like, so every other one is, so this is going like in a chronological order. So every other one needs to be kind of close. I don't know what the delta can be, but if I create too strong of a delta, it might. And you can see there's kind of a weird one. I think it's actually the one highlighted right now. So this guy right here, click off. That's okay. I just might actually create, there's just like a huge stretch through here where not much variability happens. So that's kind of the thing that sticks out to me. Creating these like gaps like this, I think is gonna be helpful. Yeah. And so I don't need to get this perfect right now. I think there's going to be tons of time for refinement. I think figuring out the duration, like 8 seconds for a load in, like that's pretty long, actually. I don't know, like if you click into a build and you play like an 8-second like canned animation, is that going to be too much? Probably. One of them seems really strange. Okay, I lost it. Where is it? This guy, right here. 50. Yeah, 50 is like the highest I went. That just felt a little too lopsided. There we go. And so the other thing to think about is once it does this, so this will be all position. Yeah, and I realize like the viewer is a little small and this is probably a little much. I wish I had, oh, if I had put it on a different screen, you wouldn't see it. So I do want to add a position keyframe here, and I want them all to align to the same x coordinate. Yes, x coordinate. So actually it's going to be every other one. So the ones that are further, the 41.7 is where all the left grid positions are. So if I just get them all to match 41.7, why is it linked though? Can't do that? Okay. Oh, just copy, paste. That is. And I feel like I need to put these on the full pixel because you get like that soft edge. I'll do that eventually. But this will help just kind of consolidate it so when it's done, it's done loading. The idea is then that it'll reconvene into one single stack. So it's like establishing the order at that point. Those should all be, yeah. That's a little fast. I feel like I can do this. I don't think it needs a full second, maybe like half a second. Seems about right. Yep. Yep. One thing I am worried about is I think I may have just done this backwards. No, that's right. Yep. And I could probably, I don't know what the keyframe velocity is for this. So again, personal preference, I kind of like 80-20. I think it makes the most sense. Feels balanced, like it feels like a natural start and stop. So it's kind of my thing. So 80-20. So let's see if we can this a little bigger. So have our load in. This will be playing the movie on the side. And as a resolved state, just kind of slides over and consolidates into a smaller state. So not bad. I mean, I thought it was going to be much more painful. It kind of is painful. For real, what's going on? But yeah, I think not bad. It's just going to be such a pain in the ass to like every one of these I have to re-export. So I might just do this real fast. And again, the one thing I do need to figure out is how I transition to an active state. So that's something that's also going to need to happen at this marker here. So 8 seconds is where this where so it consolidates into this line, and this is when the first, no, it's 8 to 9 apparently. When this becomes active, so this is right here. So this is like the resolve state, which you can see is active. Another thing that's kind of weird is the exclusion state for some of these, or the blend mode. This is exclusion, so I might have to do some. I don't think you can animate blend modes. Can't animate AE blend modes. What is BCC composite? Huh. But you can animate them. I really love this filter. Is that? That is not a native plugin. Huh. Interesting, but over my head right now. It's not something I'm going to deal with. I will cross that bridge when I get there. And if it means, like, because this is a concept, and because I never got the chance to really validate it and make it real, you know, I haven't had a chance to kind of stress test all these things, and maybe it means modifying or putting a backing, I don't know, but at this point, for it being purely a concept, I just don't care. So I'm trying to just get this thing out right now. I have this, all these timers and everything I need to figure out. So this I will want to get right. So I have my reference down below. I'll create a text layer. Not like that. Oh, I always get it mixed up. Whatever submit is for the different applications, whether it's enter, whether it's escape. I know some have controls and what you can do. I never keep track of them. I don't know why. Should. So this is just gonna be a simple loading animation. So this starts on the 1, which is maybe not. This could go longer, which is not great, but let's just go ahead. Copy, paste. I'm just copying and pasting. There's probably a better way to do this that's a bit more efficient, but again, like, expressions have been something that have eluded me. So this is going to be a lot of hand coding. So I think I missed one. Huh? Huh? I did all right. So I just need this to repeat. Clearly I have a repeat here. So I think it's super helpful to learn all the different keyboard commands to move things around on the timeline. So Option Shift and arrows helps move things by 10 frames. And so that it's kind of harkening back to like my design propensity to have things on even numbers. I don't know why. I just think it makes sense in my head a little bit more. So then I can have full units, and then I can have like smaller units. Um, or like not really half units. Finishes loading 7 seconds. So the way I'm doing, like, so then I put it on the keyframe, and then I'm doing Command Shift right, moves it the same 10 frames. So I'm able to just create consistency. And I did it again. Duplicate, that's okay. Yeah, between these shortcuts and using snapping, being able to snap things to the playhead, like it's, I don't know, I think it's super helpful. And so once that's complete, right here, well, let's get this accurate. And also with the 10, using it or creating this at basically 30 FPS, I'm able to get things to line up to second markers, and that's something my brain can wrap its head around. In terms of like once you get into pre-comps and you start nesting things, you start targeting like full second marks is when things happen. Might go back in and have to like change that and move off of that, but at least as a starting point, there's kind of like a time grid that I'm mentally using as well. So I have the loading. I should get off of red. And then I'll probably just duplicate this because this is going to become its own sort of text layer. It starts at, this really starts at 100? Why? Oh. Okay, good. Actually, I didn't set up as much as I thought. So we don't need this blinking. This will just be a simple opacity. And again, so now I've created this fade in transition of, maybe I did? Didn't? This is all very interesting. No, I did mess this up. Okay. Move these up. Okay. Ooh, double right there. Great. That's the end of it, that's why. So it's off, and then there's a little bit of an offset, and then it will fade in. We don't want this to be loading. This is the build ID, so SVD 001. Let me get rid of this reference. I don't need it right now. That's purely positioning. The other thing I'm also thinking about in the back of my mind is not Creative Cal. It's, so I had this idea of having like additional meta in the background during the load-in. So this sort of like time grid sheet, this is something that is very common in racing. Seems like a little bit extra, but this is something I'm just thinking mentally as I'm doing all of these natural offsets. It's like, how the fuck am I gonna sync when this stops with this? Like, it actually isn't that hard. It's gonna be kind of maybe having like two timelines side by side or stacked on top. So then I can see like at each point that these come to a stop, this sort of loads in. And those will be like very, very quick. But again, trying to just have like a lot of this meta, because everything around racing is like timing, data, and again, Singer's not, this build specifically is more about meta and data and racing lot of them just bougie streetcars. They are fucking beautiful. Okay. The other thing is this line I need to animate, so best way to do this. Fastest way is probably just, I don't use the pen tool in After Effects a lot, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. We may find out in a second. So pen tool. Again, this is where that reference is super helpful. Oh, is it? Oh, let's see. One thing I also do all the time. You gotta be careful, like what you have selected when you start drawing stuff. Oh. So make sure, like when you start using shapes or any sort of, apparently the pen tool, you don't have anything selected. Otherwise, it'll default as a mask for whatever you're selecting. Might be obvious to most people. It's not. This is 2 pixels. White, no fill. So this will be, what's it called? Grid frame. Sure, works for me. Yeah. Best way to do this would probably be mask. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I used to be able to just move the mask shape very specifically, but now it lets you do. Like I should text my buddy who does this. See, like, hey, can I modify this shape? So we'll do the full mask. This will be the end state, which happens at, don't understand why this timeline has become so nuanced and why that became in frames. Go, zoom level. I have the rectangle, the shape. I can't mask a shape. Ooh, ooh, ooh. So okay, what I need to do is do a different kind of mask. Let's see, so sure enough selected. Still there. Deleted the wrong one. This will be the end state. This will be, you can do masks within. I don't really, the benefit of doing it within the layer, maybe it's cleaner, but you can always do like an alpha matte. So this will mask whatever's right above it. So right now, this is matting all of this. Yes. And so this will just be a matter of modifying the shape. Rectangle. Transform, anchor point. It's probably an easy way to do it, but this was, I think this should be like when it finishes. I had it in the initial designs where it was kind of happening as the load-in is happening, but I think it's going to be kind of a nice thing to kind of like just bookend it. Fill. I don't need a fill or a stroke for this. Size. Yeah, I mean, this used to be able to do so much more with modifying shape layers, but let's see what happens. We can do this with scale, potentially. So this will be the end state at 8 seconds. One thing that's important when you modify scale is to set the anchor point, which everything's going to go off of this top edge. So if I change the X scale, it's going to modify it from the left side out as I expand out. So the initial step would probably be 0, 0. So that's going to put it on that initial point. If I go 10 frames, let's add a keyframe. And don't want this. So I want width should be 100. The scale should be like 10. So ideally, this is just going to get that horizontal expansion. Don't quite. Oh, maybe because it doesn't have a fill. That's what's causing the problem. Fuck. Add fill. Am I being just really dumb? Possible. It's probable. You know what? I'm gonna do this differently. Sorry. I'm just gonna literally build this out with shapes. You? Yeah. No stroke. White fill. Path. So this would be 12. This should be 2. Again, trying to get that full pixel amount, so it doesn't do this like half pixel rendering, which I think I messed up, and I have to do this all over for this. Mohammed, yo. So this, what I'm working on right now is a concept for. This was supposed to be a collaboration that fell through with a different automotive builder, so to say. And I'm trying to scrap it and repurpose it for, so Singer is an automotive builder, and it's basically a gallery to show all these different builds. It'll go into deeper elements of, basically a gallery is how I'd explain it. There's some deeper functionality when it comes to like different scroll interactions, click and drag, different grid states, videos. But the work I did was so specific to automotive that it didn't feel like something I could just shelve. And there's a lot of stuff like I think everyone's got some experience with projects being scrapped. It happens all the time, and it's okay. But this is, yeah, this is just so oddly specific that, you know, I feel like I'm not going to really have the chance to reuse it. So I should probably just repurpose it. And I'm coming up on, like, kind of the end of my time off. So I figured I would get this thing sorted out. Where is the fucking... Interesting. center point is just not even... Can't zoom in anymore, apparently. So that's why, like, so if I don't... Well, the center point's there. Why is the position moves so much? So this is going to do the expansion. And so this is going to be a lot of, like, typically with the streams, and thank you for coming through, like, first time in the stream. Appreciate everyone who jumps in. Usually I'm a bit more open in terms of, like, this is not the time where I'm doing a ton of work, so usually I can be pretty amenable and just kind of jump into whatever. But right now I'm kind of focusing in on this. I woke up this morning, it was a little salty that this is still not done, so I'm gonna be pretty task oriented today is what I would say. So feel free to ask me about anything. I'm happy to talk about it. I just might not fire up like DaVinci Resolve or Capture One, or maybe if I need a break, like I'm hitting a wall, that would be a good time to hit me up to like show some other stuff. So yeah, thank you for coming through. Mr. Glocks, what's good? I'll duplicate this. So I'll probably make a pre-comp out of this, just so I can have the initial load in. And that way, as the states evolve and all the different, this is gonna be kind of complex with all the stuff that I have planned for this. We'll see what makes sense to really animate, what doesn't. We'll see. But so I want this to be expanding here, and then let's say I duplicate it. So then at 1 second, this is gonna wrap up. But then the position needs to go down to the bottom. And so this, yeah, if you didn't see any of the streams about the, what's it called? Like I did some of the design of this on stream. So you might be a little confused on all these details. That's okay. I can kind of show where things are at right now. So this is from scratch this morning. These are gonna look wrong, so I'll just turn them off. But the idea is a start grid for a gallery. And so it's like the end of a formation lap. Like if you think about Formula One, they do the formation lap and then the start grid. So that's kind of like the loading, and then the resolve state is more in this single order. So again, I can get into, like, if you have any questions about like the framework or decisions that were made, like definitely feel free to ask. I'm happy to talk about that as I'm going through it. So this is where it ends, is right there. So I will move this here. Right now it should be like the beginning of those two horizontal lines. Oh, I shouldn't have trimmed it though. Thought I was doing myself a favor. So I just need the, so if I bring back my reference, which is down here, and I'm also not totally sure about the best pre-comp strategy with this. I don't want to get into pre-comp purgatory where I'm just like everything's pre-comped. That can get a bit messy. So, but I also, it can make my life a lot easier and more manageable. All these different states. So all things I'm going to sort of figure out as I'm going. 700. And so this will start right here. Move the center point to the top. And get scale in here. So I know this is going to be the end state. And this will be here. Okay, so you can see it's still doing the bracket. Sorry, my internet sucks, so I can't comment or ask what you're doing right now. Oh, I'm sorry. I know, like, so you're on Twitch, and someone else was saying that they couldn't reduce the stream quality, which is really unfortunate. Um, and I also I reduced the bit rate, um, quite a not quite a bit. Like I found out my bit rate was way higher than it needed to be, and I replayed one of them, and like the dropping frames and all that shit was really too much. Um, so it should be better, hopefully, but yeah, I don't know if there's not a way to reduce quality. And I think what could be a problem right now is like how small the animation is on the frame. Might be kind of hard to see some of the stuff that's going on. Is that thunder? Is the thunder a playing sound? Yeah, it is. Um, I love it. I always put it on when I'm working, and I'm being entirely honest. Part of the thought behind it was, oh, that's my alert sound, by the way. Is that if I, it's kind of loud right now, actually. It's loud in my headphones. Probably loud on stream. I don't know how loud it is for you guys, but initially the thought was like maybe I could squeeze in a little bit of music here and there, and if I put some thunder over it, like it won't get flagged for the DMCA. Um, yeah, kind of shady, I know, but it would have been nice. And again, actually, um, I want to see if it works. So I would play a lot of music. So I created a stream bot. So if you do exclamation point commands, it should work. But there's a playlist I would be playing. Hey, it works today. So today, like, not much is working. I'll be entirely honest. My Stream Deck is not syncing up with Streamlabs, so I have no control over that. It's what actually I do want to put it on in the background for me. This is a good shit done playlist. I do want to reduce this. Also want to make sure it's not coming through on the stream because I did do that at one point. Yeah. So if you want to pop that on, go for it. That's interesting. I might try it. It relaxes me so much. Yeah. Honestly, like I love it. So it's this uh-oh, that's a lot of work emails. I might need to check that. It's called mynoise.net. They have a bunch of different ones. This is just Distant Thunder. Um, I have the same feeling. Um, I, sorry, these emails coming through. What was I saying? I don't know, but basically, like, I love this. They have different options. You can like, you can turn up all these different features. Like, I had all of them up, and some of the early streams, it just sounds like I was in the middle of a fucking tornado or something, because it was just like thunder is just like constantly going off. Um, so yeah, it's taking a little refinement, curation, and feedback. to get to this point. Um, yeah, and being in Southern California where it never rains, and being someone who's come to grow and love rain, I love that thing. Okay, well, I can't get any closer to this, I guess. 240. Oh, no, 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 no. What's going on? 244. At 109? Yeah, see this half pixel is what's going to start burning me. 244. Oh, no, no. Oh, okay, never mind. Position's fine. On my animating position, sometimes I just get a little careless and I start like zeroing out some of these values, but I'm not doing it on a keyframe if there's motion. So then it creates a keyframe and suddenly like things that just start shaking. It's not good. Not what you want. This guy. I hate how buried all this stuff is. Such a pain to get to. I think 704 is what it should be if it's going to account for the top and bottom lines. But even then, that doesn't do it. Why not? Right there. 705 maybe. Oh. 106? My sense of pixel spacing on After Effects is not the best. But I think that should be it. So then I have my sort of grid formation finishes. So that shift over might be happening a little quick, or I just move this up so it happens in line. It's pretty much, it finishes there. Now it finishes almost at the same time. Maybe that's what it does. It wraps up its sort of transition as this happens. I don't want this to be twice as long though. So that I can move this up. Can I ask you again about what you're doing? My internet stopped right after I said hi. That's unfortunate timing. Yeah, so this is it's basically an image gallery, all related to an automotive builder. This was a real collaboration that fell apart, and all the design I did is so specific to automotive industry that it didn't seem like something I would ever get the chance to reuse. So instead of ended up being like 80 hours worth of work in very short order. I'm just going to put out a concept and repurpose it because I'm also looking for work, and I'm putting this through the lens of, if you look at my site, there's not a ton that's super immersive. There's Ari's website I did that's definitely more immersive, but this is kind of addressing a gap in my book as I see it. And some people love to frown upon unsolicited redesigns and all this concept work, but for me, it's like I either keep it or I just make peace with it, or I lose it. And I'd really rather not lose it. Because I'm really happy with how this turned out in terms of like having some of these thematic elements, like the preload is based off of a formation lab. And then this position in the gallery is all, it's all about, what's it called? Like I can't even think. My words right now are hard. It's all about like race order. So like how that transition happens, and then some of the interactions. It's all automotive based. So again, I'd usually be inclined to just scrap this and maybe repurpose it for something else later, but this is too specific. So And I have a little bit of time. So before I pick up a client project, yeah, let's see. I just got a work email. I just got to read this real quick. Yeah, I basically said no to a project today. It's too strategy focused for what I want to do. It's, I don't know. They're disappointed. It's like I had a lot of conversations leading up to it, and it's just more strategy than I was. I don't want to be known as like a strategic. Like I think strategically, but I don't want to have like the work they want me to do is like strategy wide in terms of like the design is just a portion of it. It involves a lot of different properties of a business. It involves like brand strategy, which I think I can do, but it's not really what I want to be doing. Um, I may have to answer that email at some point. Um, yeah, we'll see. I'm gonna give this a little bit more time. I want to get some momentum on this and at least get this sort of figured out. One thing I do need to do is so as this transitions over right here at 8 seconds. Position. So I did half second. Yeah. Ooh. There. Oh, I think I only did 10. This will need to be X position. Which I'm almost thinking if I just pre-comp this at this point. I think I will. So then I can just move it and modify it as I need to, as one sort of unit and not have to worry about it. Suppose this would be gallery nav frame. And so I'll also probably want to create a folder in here called components, just so I can keep like my main scenes in one place and then all these elements like gallery nav in one place. So then I know like, oh, if I need to pick up certain things, but I probably won't. Like this is the other thing with this project specifically, I won't really need to accommodate for too much sort of like modifying. Like I'm just doing this and then I'm shipping it and then I'm probably done with it. So this position looks a little incorrect. And so this actually should resolve. So it says loading to here, and then once this shift over happens, like right here is where this should happen. Oh, that's because I'm doing the wrong thing. It's this guy. Right here. Opacity. Oh, that's kind of a long time for opacity. Why I didn't catch that earlier. Let's give this time to move over. Position starts here and here. Let's have it move over. This is where I'll want to switch my references again. So this would be drag zoom. Why don't I have the resolve? Weird. Oh, didn't make it exportable. That's why. Uh, assets. Go. Oh. Oh yeah, put it in assets instead of references. Easy mistake. Gallery nav. So my reference down here right now is the race grid to start, but now I'm shifting over to the completed state, which is not selected. So now I can see that I was actually not close. All of these. That sucks when it happened, but the work looks cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, it always sucks when that stuff happens, but you know, it happens. I'm not the first person it's ever happened to, and I won't be the last. Shit. Did I really have the whole thing move? I did, because I shifted this later. So this all should be over, I think, 10 pixels. This should be, it's 15. Yeah. Well, that sucks. Because this is very specific in where, like, it's trying to, like, minimize the footprint as much as possible. So now I've got a decision to make. I mean, this... So one thing I think I can do is just select all these keyframes and then move the X position. I hope it doesn't... Yeah, this should be okay. I'll be alright. Alright, so I think I needlessly got terrified. There shouldn't be any horizontal. Yeah, so it shifted every keyframe. So if you select all the keyframes and then just move them, be all right. What's that top line? Strange. Fix that. Okay. So this means these. I think I'm gonna want to pre-comp all of these. Because there's gonna be different states going on at different times. And if I'm modifying, if I have this gallery nav, I don't think it should be loading. I think the pre-comp should just be gallery. So everything that happens within that gallery. And the way it's designed, it all happens within this same footprint. Every state, like even the thumbnails, like it goes all the way up to the edge. So I shouldn't have any issue. Just pre-comping and calling gallery nav and then pre-comping states within that of like the individual positions. So do you have any references for nice usable HUDs? I know there are millions out there, but they're mostly ornamentational and not really functional. You know, one that I used was Gmonk Oblivion. This is something, again, usability. So this might not even solve any of your problem. I just think it's a cool reference for HUDs. I'm assuming there's some usability in here, but it was more like, so when I developed this, and then especially the photo website I'm working on, which has sort of this HUD. Let's see if I can pull it up real fast. Tab, web, photo. understand why it opens up things behind what's open. So this is really based on like a HUD. Like it takes inspiration from a lot of those HUDs, but I'll be honest, like the amount of like work it took to make sure this is actually functional and it solves all these use cases, it's really fucking grueling. And it was very specific to how this would work, how cascading effects, like, okay, so if you drag this, what happens to this? Does that still work if you need to click here? So I haven't really seen too much in terms of HUDs that are functional. I think these sort of movie references are great, just from purely like an aesthetic standpoint. You can pick up visual cues, but I mean, does this work as like a functional aviation HUD? I don't really know. But I think that's where I would start looking, is like where they're actually used. So any sort of display that's actually in application with aircraft, that system is fully vetted and you know it'll work. I don't know exactly what sort of HUD you'd be wanting to make. Maybe I can try and find something. I mean, usually these are pretty well thought out, but again, it might not be that might not be applicable unless you're making a spaceship HUD. But you never know, maybe you are. Maybe you work at SpaceX. That'd be pretty sweet. Okay, where the heck? This beginning position is not right. Oh, it was right. Fuck. Yeah, I did have it right. So this reference of the race grid is going to be wrong, but I don't really need that anymore. That's okay. Holy shit, it's already 11 o'clock. All right, sorry. I had to grab a snack. I haven't eaten anything all day, so. But yeah, so that reference is fucked. I don't know why I didn't fix that in the comp, but that's okay. So we have resolved. That's what I want here. Oh, that's what I have here. It's grid. Yeah, I can still, it's still off. That's all right. It's just exposition that's incorrect. I don't know why. Oh, that's why. Why is there a double? Oh, and Victor, I mean, for me and on this one as well. So, no, it should be in sketch file. Like, so in the automotive world, I just started looking at different graphics and different sort of cues, in terms of like G-force meter, different position tracking sort of stuff, and then your typical race grid. So F1 leaderboard. Do they have them? Yeah, like this. So it's like it's used and it is technically a HUD, but it's not going to be super informative when it comes to design. It just kind of like sparks some ideas of what I could do for an interface. So that's kind of the genesis of where mine showed up. It's kind of like a cross between crazy shit like this, and like actual leaderboard um, and like race HUDs on broadcasts. So hopefully that helps. See, this is just burying everything. Where the heck am I? Where'd my pre-comp go? Oh, I must have replaced it somehow. Why can't I add a pre-comp? Am I being done? Oh, that's because I put the wrong one in there. This I can put in here. I was like, wow, did I totally forget how After Effects works? Within the realm of possibility. Where's... So now it kind of sucks is that I lost the position. This, but it's kind of easy to do. Put it there. Yeah, but I do need to go in and modify this guy. I don't know what happened here. Yeah, I thought that was too long. Now I gotta dive in on all this again. It feels weird there's not like a more elevated place where you can just easily modify shape size. I think it would be somewhere in, even in that plugin, but it is not. 5. Position. Yeah, I'm free to move this. Oh, 40. Oh. Now I gotta go find it again. 704. This is what I thought it would be. Something with like the anchor point and changing the scale, it wasn't quite right. But that should be fixed now. Turn this reference off for a second. That's finishing at the same time. Then as the shift happens at 8 seconds, this is when I will want to chase that with position shift here. And this one I want my reference back. But I realize my reference is the correct one. It. That. Position correct. There we go. The other thing missing is the meta, and I'm not totally sure if I'm gonna keep it or not. I'd gone back and forth in the comps on whether I wanted it there full time or not. I think it's kind of nice to have passive animation, so that's probably something I'll bring back. Yeah, I don't know why it's gone from here. Really strange. Footer meta. Yeah. So that... Yeah, I'll probably just bring it as a reference for now. And then I'll go in and I'll probably use an expression. Like, I don't know much expressions, but I can do like a simple count up. It'll be like an active timer. I think it'll be kind of nice. Assets, gallery navs, here. Gallery. So this will, it's like somewhere between a reference and a what's it called? Like a reference and an asset. Like I think I'm gonna rebuild it. I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do to rebuild it. Because I'm gonna have to do like modifying the position as well. Um, it's kind of a temp thing. I think a lot of this is gonna be I'm gonna try and leverage as much static assets as I can for purely sanity's sake. But let's go a little bit longer. I think keyframe. Oh, the same sort of easing curve. This feels like it should be longer. So a little offset, I think, goes a long way when it comes to animating these things. It's the same easing curve, but it's just, it happens on a delayed timeline. So for now, there's so much to do in this. Like, this is a fairly complicated little micro site. I don't think I've ever done anything quite this extensive. That's like down in the details like this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this is all gonna go. This is kind of uncharted waters, but fake it till you make it. Actually, I'm gonna get rid of SVD001. I think that was a legacy idea. I think I just wanted to show the load in, and then once it resolves, it's just clean. The idea was like, maybe if it was gonna stay wide, it was something that could always show. It just didn't make sense. Also the little grid view icon. Probably just gonna export right now as do EPS work. I don't know if you can do EPS in this is grid. Grid button off. If there's a grid button on state. Yep. Yeah, it's gonna be such a mind fuck to get all of these organized. Like with so much stuff happening in different places. It's gonna be interesting. And so I have my assets here. Just want to drop in the I don't even know if this will work. Seems not to mind. Yeah. Position, if I can just get this zeroed out. 73. 596. That's okay. Just weird, like the EPS is rendering so terribly. It's just this blurry thing. And I think there could be some cool ways of like, with the line shifting, of like having this, back the mic, having the meta kind of come up from behind it, so there's kind of like a sense of space. What to do with my hands? Like as the line moves out, or moves back in, the meta moves out. So does the grid view option as well. But again, something I'll start with an opacity shift for now, and then we'll go. Let's just on a slight offset right now. That's okay. And then, so there is this line in here. I think that got modified into, I think I need that. The thinking was initially when it condenses down to this state, it's like a minimize or it's scrolling, that would be the way to indicate where you are because you can't see the grid. But I think the active, what I resolved on was the active grid spot is going to stay close, and that's what you see here. So it's going to be kind of, it'll become a scroll bar in a way, just because you see the edge bleed off. Never count on people. I swear. Oh, man. Don't fully depend on people would be my little bit of career advice at this very junction. It's okay to rely, like, I was trying to think if there's a difference between rely and depend on people. I guess it's kind of the same word, but there's like, it's okay to lean on people and you can collaborate and make things better, but like if you're fully independent or fully dependent and ultimately relying on someone else coming through, man, I don't know. I'm just not seeing it. I'm a little kind of disappointed at this very junction in time, but that's all right. This is why I'm doing this shit. Like, you know, just do it yourself. That's all you gotta do. And I did remember this is a problem too. Actually, this zoom state is not happening. I don't think I'm gonna do zoom on this one. Maybe I'll work it in there, but I don't think that's where I want to get. It's been moved? Oh, I did move it. Just catching up. Where was I? Sorry, I'm like thrown off by these emails that are flying around. Yeah, so I'm trying to think. Right now, if I turn the reference off. God, that's so long. It kind of works. It's like a very simplistic version of what I'm hoping for in the end. Create a new composition. This one should be, was it 19? I forgot what it was. 1080p, lock it, and then 1200 pixels. Kind of a random size, but that's okay. So then this will be kind of like the landing. This will be gallery nav, load in. So this will play out. So got that in there. I think it'll be good to export out some images. Symbols. So I can go ahead and for this build, put the portable JPEG. I'm gonna do a 2x just in case. There are pretty big images. Assets here. New folder. Huh. Probably too big. Yeah, it's using the exclusion right now. That's the best. Gonna do some more exporting. It's down here. Oh, that's why. You can see this is the full sequence. I don't have the preload quite figured out. Because this canned animation is technically not the preload. I might... Maybe there's a way to make it the preload. So I should have this as the starter image. Looks weird. It looks like it's stretched for some reason. Just to figure out how... So the idea was like you click on it, it does their preload, and then it starts pulling in these images. Which I think it should just expand out from like a smaller state, a grid. So let's go ahead. 5. Scale. The same like 60-second. And do the same easing. And because this is kind of like its own singular thing, it doesn't really need to be synced with anything right now. It's okay if I go in and I change the easing to be something entirely different. Because the thinking is like it's going to go from here, and then some of these other images are going to start showing up here. So it kind of gives you like a canned animation. So as these are being preloaded, you're getting a preview of the car. And there might be, I think there's probably some technical limitations I'm trying to remember in terms of like what we could do during the preload. So the preload technically was happening earlier. Yeah, I think I can get away with a little bit more. So there would be more limitations if this actually was built. Which maybe people who are extremely adept with WebGL and understand the preloading limitations would be like, hey, you can't actually do that. Okay, we can figure that out. And I'm really not trying to like take too many creative liberties with this project. I want this to be pretty honest, because if I'm going to send this to, like, put this on my site as like, hey, this is something I'd like to build or capable of building with someone, I don't want to have all these caveats and asterisks next to it, because then it's just fucking useless. But if it's something as small as like, oh, like the preload order, like the sequence would have to be changed. Okay, I understand that. I'm not like pretending assets don't exist. I'm not like, I don't know, making it so heavy that you can't even, anyone on lower bandwidth can't even access it. That's not what I want to do. Where are these? So I acquired. That's not it. Oh, it's already in here. Yeah, so the MP4 and MP3. So this is the video I'm able to function. I'm able to leverage some of this. So I think I might do some... Oh, I didn't know that that was there. That's okay, that's not too essential. So I can do like a little bit of video at the onset too. Kind of introduce the build. The idea is like you see some of the images and then you get like an entry into it. I don't think there's ever a point in this where it resolves into like a clean studio shot. I mean, some of this stuff is pretty sweet. It makes my life a lot easier if I can leverage some of this. That windshield cracked in one of those shots? Oh no, it's just water. Okay. So I might folder, go ahead and save. It's been a minute. Sorry, I'm lost. Are you designing your portfolio? Don't worry. I don't think it, like, it's understandable that people get lost sometimes because I have very divergent thoughts very often. But no, I'm designing. So it was a collaboration for a car builder, and it didn't work out. So I'm trying to port this over from a real collaboration into a concept. And so so Singer is the brand that I'm working with. Not working with. This concept is for, but it has zero affiliation with Singer in any sort of official capacity. So I'm just trying to make like so if you look at like Singer's current website, like this is what they have. It to me it doesn't level up to like what they build. It's kind of underwhelming. Like I think they have some galleries. I don't even know if they have like a full functioning gallery. I feel like they got rid of it. So for me, it's like there really is no hub. So this is like it was an opportunity based on like the work I'd done and then a brand I want to work with and seeing a gap in what they currently have. So it's kind of like, yeah, why not? Why not port it over to this? It could be something cool. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That I could then try and leverage, like some sort of pitch. I mean, I guess it's my sort of pitching myself to them, like just putting it out into the world. It's basically unsolicited redesign. That's what I would call it. They definitely didn't ask for it. So I'm just, and again, I talked about it kind of early on. Like I know people like to frown upon unsolicited redesigns because you don't really have all the information, which I fully appreciate. But I don't know. To me, there could be some value just in getting something out there that I'm interested in, like on my site and on my, like in my body of work. So it's, again, trying to make, oh no, how it does that. Oh, every time I do it. I'll try to just come up with like a 2-second clip. Have this. I didn't quite get that right. So yeah, it's definitely not ideal, but I'm doing what I can with the situation the cards I was dealt. Fuck, again I do it. So again, the more this is grounded in reality, the better, but it is not real, so I have the luxury of taking some liberties. Oh, that's much quicker than I would have hoped for. if I could remap the speed. But I mean, 8-second intro is kind of a long time. And this happens too fast. Well, I think that's because the timing good. I think giving the initial shot some continuity, or not some continuity, some like a little bit of time to breathe. I just wish this was longer. Is that really all? No, it goes longer. I just cut it short. Oh, I don't even need to do that. Leave it. Someday I'll get the command right. I'm just doing split, but instead I'm doing save as. It's fun. I mean, it almost works out. Like I can keep going a little bit longer. But I just don't know if it's weird that it goes from stills to video. Like it almost should be like the initial thinking was it would be a video or it would be stills depending on the assets available per build. But with this one, it feels like if video assets are available, I should just lean into it and maybe not do any sort of still. So it's just for this one, it's kind of best case scenario. I'm able to get away with purely video. So I should extend this out and find another clip. Actually, I like the idea of it. Just want to switch the order of these. It's sort of like, oh, where'd it go? I feel like I lost the detail shot. Yeah, I did. You know what? Probably the better way of doing this is here. Yeah, this shot right here. That's the very beginning. This should happen at 2 seconds. I have to figure out what I want to do for like transition cuts. I don't think that fade is really it. Oh, I already have it here. How did I don't know. This is not. There. Now this cut, I think should cut down here. My OCD hates that that's like not on the second mark, but I'm just gonna have to live with that. And then come back for another. Like it's kind of like building hype to it. Like I don't know if I want to give away the whole thing. Like I feel like it should resolve on the like the full build. It's through here. Kind of just feels like the starting sequence. Where's that clip? Right here. Actually, these should be switched. Yeah, there it is. Start. Grab the gear shift. Hands on the wheels. That might be. Yeah, they do the cut for me. All of it. Exactly the sequence. It stops right here. Okay. That's a little long. I don't know if I need this last bit. Chopping it here. Okay, no, no. Right there. Then ideally it like fades transitions to the initial frame, which would be this guy. I don't think the timing's quite right. I just like trimming off all the extra clips. I don't know why. Sorry for all the questions. No. No need to apologize. Wish I had time for doing unsolicited concepts. That's often where you can push your boundaries without having clients busting your balls. Yep, absolutely. Looks amazing so far. Thank you. Are you redesigning the whole site or more of an experiential microsite? So the initial collaboration had different things um, like a swag section, a contact, a press page, all this kind of stuff. But I'd opted to just kind of simplify it and make it more about like a media experience. I think it would be interesting to think about how this coexists with everything else in their existing ecosystem, with um, like different, um, I don't know, with like their whole brand. Like, how do you represent Singer as a brand altogether? I think that's a maybe a little bit of different conversation, and I think that gets into that that gets a little bit more complex of a conversation. And I think there's way more assumptions that have to be made if I start thinking about who I'm talking to, what's their priorities as a brand. I think that's where, for me, like an unsolicited redesign gets too much into muddy waters, and like I have no way of knowing any of these things, like what their motivations are. But I do know, like, regardless of what those are, like a microsite experience, whether that's part of the main site or not, like immersive way of showing their builds off. Um, I don't know. I don't. There's less assumptions I have to make with such a narrow focus. So, and all my work before the collaboration died was just purely on this. I had the framework for everything else. I just didn't do it. So just in terms of just getting things done and having something to show for it, I kind of just trimmed it down and narrowed it. So you can see from, I don't think I have it in here anymore, but I just really simplified the navigation. So it's purely about navigating the builds in different ways. So, and even that in itself has been kind of an interesting UX exercise. It's not perfect. Again, there's probably going to be holes that can be poked into it, but that's okay. I'm I'm good with that. So, yeah, and feel free to keep asking questions. I'm more than welcome it, and it's like all about how I can help. Like if you have any insights or anything. Yeah. Port. Assets, ACS, logo. But yeah, like the whole unsolicited redesign, like it is nice because it's kind of like best case scenario. Not to say clients don't help, but they usually make things a little more complex. So not having that as a barrier right now, and if I'm looking for purely, oh, why did I export it? I thought I had EPS in here. Why is it bugging out? Oh, because that's the AI file. That's fine. Sorry, I got fully distracted by this. So yeah, it's like and then people who see it, they're gonna be like, oh, that's kind of like done in a bubble. There's no real constraints on it, so you never really know. There's no feedback you have to go through. There's no, well, all sorts of things. So yeah, there's no client to kind of get in my way, but yeah, it kind of undercuts a little bit because there's something about being able to make something that looks good and works well with the clients and their needs and performs well. But I just, that luxury. I don't know. I guess I should like, with some people here, is like this long of an intro annoying? Too much? I feel like it's kind of, it has a purpose. I don't know. And I am noticing the aspect ratio is kind of bugging me. It's like I should do it closer to the comp because all the assets are cropped that way. It is not so much a 16:9, but I think I should be all right with that. So I kind of want to go change it. Lock 1600. Um, the hood animation could be faster, like 2x. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that feeling too. Yeah, I mean, the whole part of the thinking behind it was it's going to be as what I initially wanted was this timing chart, and when they resolve in their final positions are actually like as your preload happens. So it's like showing the checklist of the preload essentially. And so I think there might be more variability. Like if one of these is a video, maybe there's like kind of a big gap, and then the rest load in. So it would be kind of slow, but I think where we technically ended up landing was that it was going to be more of like a representational preload where the preload already happened ahead of time. Um, so I agree. Like I don't think it needs to be as grounded in reality of like um, how long things are taking. If that makes sense. Hmm. Yeah, I think that's probably accurate. Let me be right back. Use the bathroom real fast, grab a water. Yeah, give me like 5 minutes or so. I will be right back and I'll try and turn off audio on this animation. All right, back. Yeah. I think I need to think about that HUD speed. It's like I don't know how I want to go about doing this. And you can change like flip time. I don't think I really want to. Oh, it's probably a bad idea. Might just work. I think you're spot on, like 50%. Hmm. Yeah. I did like the fact that the timing was it was happening synchronously with the video preload, but I can refine that as well. Not terribly worried. I think. I was trying to think of like the best way to do all this content. I think I just have this. Gallery content. So this way I can have like this I can just I can dump all the different assets in here for the build. This would be here. Again, timing is going to need to get sorted out. So things might look a little all over the place for a minute. I just want this to be off the screen. Again, easing. So this position will need to shift as well. And if I eyeball it, it should be okay. Ideally, I'm using like exact math. Get this right. Oh, I did it backwards. Good. And that's so you can see like the easing difference. Like if you get the easing wrong, you get like these weird sort of like variabilities in the gap. So if I put it correct, but oh, that's because why? There you go. I did like the time frame reverse. That's why that was all messed up. But so this will just be the simple scroll animation. easy. Looking ahead to some of the other states, I think this sort of state will be interesting. So this is a hover over the left rail. So this is where you get like a quick preview of where you're at. There's also the scale back and scroll, which also has me wondering if I just create like one long what's it called? This vertical column of images, so that's what I just animate in and out, and I can adjust scale. That's probably the best way to do it. Gallery content. Yeah. All this I should just undo. Composition settings, height. Make this 8,000 to start. I can set this to the top. And there may be performance reasons why this is not a great idea, but I think it works for me. The position, so if I want to keep this gap consistent, I can do plus 100, 200. So everywhere it's in the comp, it's always at the scaled down proportion. So I'm actually probably going to need to do another 200. Yeah, so that's 400 gap. These should all be here. If I get it to the bottom, plus 400. So this way, I guess it's comp 1. Gallery content. So position. I wonder if I just move up. That go. Oh, yeah. So this position should be 0. Okay. So then if you do any sort of scroll, it's going to be easy. Only thing that's going to be kind of hard is that the point, like the center point of all the scales is going to be moving a lot, which isn't terrible. It's just another thing to track. So let's say scale. What? Yeah. See, everything's off that center point right now. Which is kind of annoying. This should always be center of the screen. This means position needs to shift. Excuse me. Yeah, so that logo should be gone already. This again, same 80/20. Feels a little manic. Don't really like the easing. Is that? Still feels like it stops too quick. I'll play with that. I don't think that's hugely important. Then at 10, let's have the position. I don't think I'm on the second marker. I'm too zoomed out. Yeah, see, I missed it. Do 1 second scroll. And then, so anchor point also needs to be tracked. I don't know who's gonna fuck it up. Make it not move. No, it's fine. And then maybe at this point is when wait, no, what is this? Nope. Nope. Can't paste spatial data to temporal data. Someone can please tell me what in the wide world of sports that means. I'd love to know. Apparently it can do it. Position's not quite right. This up. Actually, let's just do this. Position. $6:30. Yeah, that sucks. Seems like it moves sideways at some point. Oh. You can see there's like a 1 pixel edge on top too. So I'm gonna have to show all the different ways of scrolling. So this would be like a free scroll. I'm still gonna have to update the active state on this side. Discord, what's going on today? I just want to make sure I have some of these images. I just need to do a couple more assets. Yeah, half the fun is tracking assets, exporting assets for all this motion stuff. Maybe you can tell there's a little bit of sarcasm in that. I really hope this doesn't fuck things up, but it might. 10,000 down. Yeah, it's not. Just so I can do 4 images. Because there's at one point there's a scale shift. Like the click and drag has like a free scale sort of bit. So I might need to show more than 3. Plus 100, not minus. Yeah, it did mess with it, but that only thing I'm worried about now is the Y position again. This approach. Sucks. Yeah, this like scale shift happening. Gotta position here. Anchor points gotta shift. Middle. Someone's probably gonna tell me, yo, there's a way better way of doing this. This distance. I thought I moved the anchor point. This is where like the anchor point moving just becomes kind of a mindfuck. It should be to the center campus. Rethink this. I remember doing this before and just like if I make changes, I basically have to backtrack like I just did. So I don't know if that's gonna be right. Yeah, see, it's just becoming a problem. But I wonder if I'm focusing too much on the wrong things right now. I think it's good to put some thought into this and like try and plan ahead with how I'm structuring my file, but this is just such a pain. Maybe I'm just being dramatic. That would probably come as a shock to people who know me. position isn't right. Nope, I'm done. I'm done with that. I'm just not playing that game. I'm gonna get rid of the scale shift. Position shift. I'm just gonna make this easy for now. And then if it means like building in a comp or pre-comp, great. Or if it means having each individual image like the same, that's fine with me. Or like individual, sorry. You can see like this is the state where it's like, if I know this is coming, how do I plan for it? And there's got to be an easier way of doing like kind of images like this and being able to zoom in on each one and strange. Wish there was a way to like fix position of the anchor point. So like regardless of the position of the pre-comp, it's always transitioning off that fixed position anchor. Let's see if I can. There's no way this is going to come up with anything. Anchor point. Position of the mask. I'm gonna have to ask my buddy who does After Effects for a living, because this could help unlock a lot of things. Like if I can kind of in the pre-comp handle a lot of this, but then just have the anchor point be absolute position versus relative, I guess the best way I can put it, that would be super helpful. What's the other states I want to build real fast? I do have to jump off somewhat quick. I've got a phone call I've got to do. Oh shit, it's actually pretty soon. But I do think I'll come back later and keep working on this. I really just want to get through this. So yeah, there's high priority for me. I think one thing it'd be kind of nice to do is this sort of grid state. So the idea from any point, whether you're in the gallery or you're on like the grid view, you can always access the drop down. And so whatever you're hovering over, that's what the background image swap says. So be a bit more exporting there. Showing the scroll might take a little bit to just kind of get the masking correct. I might jump off right now. I think I need to eat before I have this phone call, but I have this one and another one. And then I think this afternoon, maybe around like 3 or 4 o'clock PST. So in like 4 hours, I'll come back and I'll keep jamming on this. And I might try and do some homework to see if I can get some of this kind of stuff working instead of it just being such a obvious struggle. Because I think there's a lot of components that would benefit from understanding any sort of absolute position of the anchor point. So yeah, thank you to everyone who came through. And yeah, kind of shorter, coming up on 3 hours. But yeah, we'll see if we can do another couple hours tonight. Again, be focused on this, but appreciate all the questions. And yeah, I'll be back in a little bit.